Okay, welcome back everyone. So today we are on lesson 3, the infinite mind, which is a really powerful lesson, and we're going to go into how to create anything that you truly desire. So the whole process of setting and achieving goals, especially the achieving part of the process. This quote by Earl is absolutely amazing. It says, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. So before we go into lesson 3, we're going to talk about wins of the week. Then we will review lesson 2, and if there are any questions, please to let me know for those of you who are live, so far as Eric, and for those of you who are watching this as a recording, if you do have any questions for lesson 2, please do contact me during the week, and then we're going to go to lesson 3, which is this week's lesson. All right, so wins of the week. So again, this is all about creating the habit of appreciating your efforts. And we all know that the journey could be up and down sometimes. And if you or any of you is experiencing any lower points, you need to just understand that this is a part of the process. So it's not about getting emotionally involved what I haven't done, but it's about noticing that, taking correction, and keep going forward, and developing a habit of acknowledging yourself for the effort that you put, and giving yourself that recognition, that pat on the back, is actually a huge, a beautiful habit that will shift your vibration. So the more you feel that you're doing well, the more you notice those wins, the better and the more motivated you will become. It's all about being in high vibration, and as we know, vibration is just another word for emotions, for feelings. So is there anyone who would like to share the wins of the week?
Pick me, pick me, pick me. Yes, I would. It just sounds weird to suggest that it was a win of the week to start to become productive and actively working on active goals, but that's really what it has come around to. Realize that, getting aligned to what my goals are, and then realizing that the daily work effort is well aligned to what those activities are well aligned to what the vision and the goals are, is very positive and how can you say, fulfilling.
Okay, brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. And for everyone else, this is an important moment, again, that I keep saying every single week, but it's all about not just knowing that you're working towards a goal, but actually saying it out loud. So either writing it down or saying it out loud, or everything that you've done, even little steps that you were happy with, because that is huge. Again, simple process, powerful results if you actually do that. So going back to lesson 2, which is the knowing doing gap from last week. So just a few things to remember, that everybody has a knowing doing gap. So there is a huge difference between what we know consciously with our intellect and what we actually do, which is the subconscious part of the mind that's responsible for our actions. And every person on this planet has a knowing doing gap. Why do we have that gap? Why we've created this gap, the knowing doing gap? Any ideas?
How did we create the knowing doing gap?
Yes, why do we have that gap?
Because there's a difference. I think there's a difference between our conscious mind knowing and our subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So there is definitely the difference between consciousness and subconsciousness. So the major difference is that consciousness is our intellect. So our educated mind, whatever we learn is stored in our conscious mind, and then subconscious mind is our emotions. There is a gap between what we know and what we actually do, because this is how we have been conditioned. So early on, when we go to school, when we go through educational system, we're conditioned that whatever we know, we are rewarded for it. So it's not just about what we do action-wise, but the information that we know. If we memorize something from last lesson, the teacher gives us recognition or even a good grade. If we have an exam and we remember certain formulas, we have a good grade. So we've been actually conditioned through our educational system that it's the knowing part that gives us rewards. And this is how we are conditioned. That's why we know a lot more than what we actually do. And only after school, we can see if we are doers, because then we have to make decisions, then we have to take certain actions, then we have to use our initiative. But it's not always possible, because sometimes people know a lot more because they've just practiced the learning part so much that they can't action what they actually know. So the doing part is missing, and that is only because of the way we've been conditioned at the early age. So it's all about that idea. It's all about, sorry, habit, not an idea. It's all about the habit that we need to recognize, and then if it's a habit that doesn't serve us, we need to change it onto the opposite habit. So what's a habit? A habit is an idea. So whatever habits we have right now, whatever habits I operate with, these habits create my results. So good habits, for example, studying every morning, that's a very good habit, is going to bring me better results because I'm going to be on track with my thinking. So I'm just going to feed my mind with information and stay on track with my thinking for that day. If I have a poor habit, for example, skipping days or trying to make certain shortcuts during my day, or procrastinate, which procrastination is just a habit of not wanting to face what I don't want to do, then that is a habit. I've developed a habit of procrastination. So the opposite of procrastination is decision-making process. So if I have not developed early in my life to make decisions quickly, chances are I'm going to be a procrastinator. However, if I've developed a habit of making decisions because maybe my parents told me you got to make a decision for yourself, then if I don't have that habit early on, then I'm going to be a procrastinator. So a decision-making process is a skill as well as a habit. So all of these habits make us who we are today. Good habits give us good results. Poor habits give us poor results. Great habits give us great results. As simple as that. So it's not really that I should have known better, but it's all about I should become aware what sort of habits I have and then work on changing it. So again, what we have been conditioned to is at school as well, unfortunately, is that if I haven't done something, I was punished with a poor grade. So that's why we're also so critical to our own actions. As opposed to learning, observing, course correcting, we feel bad about it. We feel guilty. We're so good to beat ourselves with a stick and say, I know better. I should have done it. Why am I not doing it? So this is all very frustrating if I don't understand that there is a knowing doing gap, and everyone suffers from knowing doing gap. And instead of being frustrated with myself, instead of being critical and feeling guilty about it, which is a very negative emotion, I need to just face it, become aware of my habits, write it down, what do I do from the moment I wake up until I go to bed, and what sort of habits are not serving me, and then one after another replace it, the bad habit, replace it with a good habit. And if I keep doing this for a certain period of time, then obviously my bad habits will turn into good habits, and then the results will change as well. So only when we go through that change, only when we go through that process of change, we will experience permanent results. That's going to be personal and professional, that will be affected. The key that we need to remember is change is not easy. Change can be very challenging, and the moment when we go through certain activities, especially in the unknown area, we may experience all sorts of physical negative feelings. So maybe anxiety, maybe feeling I'm not good enough for this. So whatever it is, it's because we're going through change. The quickest example and the most simple example is when you're getting ready in the morning. Instead of just doing this on autopilot, try to become aware what you're doing, and then, for example, if you're brushing your teeth with the right hand, try to brush your teeth with left hand and see how awkward it feels, see how long it's going to take you. And the same with writing, handwriting. So if you're writing and using your right hand, start making notes using the non-dominant hand and just observe how it feels. So change is not easy. It's going to make us feel awkward. You're almost going to scream thinking, I can't be bothered to do this. I don't want to do this. So you're going to resist this change, making that change. So that's exactly what we have to expect in changing our daily habits. It's not going to feel great. You're going to think like giving up a few days later, and it will definitely make you feel uncomfortable, and it will take you longer to go through that change, but we need to be aware that we have to push through it. At least 30 days working on one habit, at least. And as you guys know already, that has been proven by science that our brain needs from 21 to 40 days on average to change frequency, to flip onto a different frequency. And that's when the habit is changed. Once I change the habit, I don't have to think about it anymore, and then I just do it on autopilot. Another simple example is waking up half an hour earlier or an hour earlier. For the first couple of days, you might be very motivated to do that, and around second or third week, you will really be wanting to postpone it. Every cell of your body would want to snooze the alarm. When you go and push through that time, that period of second and third week, you will reach the 30 days, and then you don't have to force yourself to do it anymore. It's going to be a lot easier. Then if you continue doing that, it's going to be on autopilot, so you won't even think about it. You're just going to automatically wake up at that time. So this is just a quick review of knowing, doing, gap. And once again, the biggest key is that we all have a knowing, doing, gap. We all know what to do sometimes in certain areas, but it's not about what I know, but it's mostly about what I actually do. So observe my behavior. What am I doing on a daily basis? What do I do on a daily basis? We need to be honest with ourselves. We need to observe it. And if things are not going the way you want to, it only means that some of your habits are not great. So again, write it down, which are non-productive habits. Choose one or two to work on. Don't pick up more than one or two, because you're going to feel overwhelmed, and then start changing them for at least 30 days. And then once you do that, you're going to feel the shift, because you're going to do it automatically, and then you go and pick up another one or another two. So any questions? Now all good and clear? Okay, perfect. So today is a very good one-on-one session with Eric. So if you do have any questions or comments.
Oh, I wanted to see that snooze button chart. You went over it too quick.
This one, yes.
Yeah.
So that was just an example of waking up at 7 a.m. So we know we want to wake up at 7 a.m. My habit is to wake up at 8 o'clock, for example. And then if I decide to wake up an hour earlier tomorrow, so it could be anytime I wake up. So if I wake up at 7, it should be 6. If I wake up at 6, it should be 5 o'clock. The moment when the alarm goes off, the feeling in your body, in our body, is very negative. It will do everything to stop us waking up because it just hurts. Changing habits hurts. So the first reaction is to hit the snooze button. That's our first reaction in the first second. And we need to become aware that for the first few days, that's how we're going to feel until it becomes our habit. So I need to keep pushing through that, keep working on it on a daily basis until it becomes my habit. And then I'm going to wake up dead on time without even having.
I think that habit of snoozing is like one of the best things about waking up early. It's like you get to press the snooze button. It's like sleeping in. It's like fantastic. I love it. I wake up an hour earlier. I sit there, dream a little bit more. It's great.
Is that what you do?
I love the process.
Okay. So
anyways, there you go. On with lesson 3. Yeah, 3.
Okay. Do you have any other example, perhaps, that you could or would want to share with the group?
Of habits changed?
Mm-hmm. Something that you were perhaps working on and it was quite challenging and then a lot easier.
For me, ADD, attention deficit disorder as I am, and working at home, I mean, there's a huge temptation to just constantly get up from your chair and desk. Mm-hmm. But over time, I put that down as one of my goals, to be growth focused and to stay at work, just to stay at my desk. And over time, it's gotten a lot better. Today I wouldn't even, so I stayed at from 9 till noon with no break. It was great. So, it's taken a few weeks, but it's been nice.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well done. Beautiful. That's
I mean, it's not the habit. I guess the point is, it sounds like also what you're saying with this, you'll snooze for a while, but the habit doesn't change immediately, right?
Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't.
I mean, it can. I guess it can. You can get that, knock you off your, that moment, that sudden moment, but most of it comes over time.
It does come over time and depends on the habits. Some of the habits, like waking up, is a very simple example because we might have had that as a habit in the past. So maybe in the past we used to wake up early. So that's already a part of our habit from the past. So maybe getting back to it might be easier than, for example, creating a brand new habit. So if I wanted to came up with an idea of creating a brand new habit that I've never done before, that might be a little bit more challenging perhaps because there is no pathway in my neural system about that habit from the past. Because whatever we've done in our life, there is some sort of memory in ourselves. So it's the same like when we go to the gym and we've been exercising for some time, our muscles become stronger, we feel better, and everything is nice and defined, and then we stop exercising. So within a few weeks, everything gets back to where it was before the exercise. However, just because we've done that workout for X amount of months, if at any point we get back to it in the future, our muscles remember it. So muscles have memory. So it may take us still a few weeks to kind of feel stronger, but it's going to be a lot quicker than for a person that's never exercised in their entire lifetime, because then they have to create a new memory in a cell in the body, and that takes much longer than going back to something that already had been created in the past. So the same like here, waking up is very basic example. There are people who used to wake up early, maybe they've changed jobs and they just have a couple of extra hours. So for them to going back to that habit of waking up earlier would not be as drastic as someone who has never done it. Makes sense?
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay, so now we are back to our lesson from today, which is the infinite mind. So this quote, which is by Earl Nightingale, it's really a powerful quote. So it says, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. How do we understand that quote? Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind, what does he mean by that?
Well, first of all, I mean, this comes from a later lesson that I just found today, but I mean, the idea that our subconscious mind cannot reason over, it just accepts stuff. It has an in, it doesn't filter. It just takes everything in. And so, you know, that day, if we just keep putting enough of the same thing in, it's going to overwhelm the subconscious, and that's going to be the way that that's going to be our dominant force of our subconscious. When we go to draw on it, that's going to be what's mostly colors our perspective, which is different than what I've understood it previously. I understood that, I guess I've understood it that we rationalize what we want to let in and not, but it's neat. My father has an incredible talent for just blocking out information that he doesn't want to hear, because he knows that negative stuff will affect his subconscious mind. And so if you start talking negative in front of him about problems or about this, he just goes cold. And it's really frustrating when you're trying to, talk about an issue or something like that, but he doesn't even want to hear it. And he knows, and he doesn't even let it in his subconscious mind. It's like he's like a kid putting his fingers in his ears and blah, 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 blah. Doesn't want it. It's really neat. And I think it's really powerful and important when you realize that. But ultimately, it sounds like, if we do this every day, put the same positive thing in there every day, it's going to eventually become the reality. Right?
Absolutely. Eventually will become reality. Whatever, it's like an auto-suggestion, what Napoleon Hill says. Auto-suggestion in Think and Grow Rich is probably one of the most powerful chapters, because he says that whatever we keep repeating over and over again eventually will become a part of our subconscious beliefs. That could be to do with anything. There are people who perhaps perceive certain situation in their own particular way, and without even talking to anybody, they repeat that scenario in their own mind, and they'll truly believe in it, even though to another person that might be an absolute joke or a lie or nonsense. To that person, it might be a perfect truth, because they fed it, they nourished it with repetition. Even the self-talk, they thought about it over and over again. And what becomes even more powerful, if it's something emotional. So whatever emotional situations we go through, they get into our subconscious a lot quicker. Why? We know, because our subconscious mind is our emotional mind. So let's go into it in more detail. So today what we're going to learn is that it is all a collection of our habits on a subconscious level. That's the powerhouse. And those habits, the collection of the habits, which we call a paradigm, those negative habits most of the time, they are holding us back from making the changes that we want in our life. Negative habits, negative beliefs, the collection of it is holding us back. What we're also going to learn is that paying attention and taking action around the collection of negative habits that are holding us back is how we turn them into the thoughts that will change our results. And then there is a formula that can be used to change any current results that we're not happy with in our life today. So, infinite mind, our infinite mind. What do we know about our mind? What is the mind? In one word, if we were to describe our mind, what is it?
Our soul.
Our soul. Okay, beautiful. Yes. So, how do you see our soul?
You don't see it.
How do
You
you
can't
see
see
it in your mind? How do you understand it in your mind? What sort of picture comes to your mind when you think of your soul?
Either your heart or your brain.
Okay. What about if you thought about it as, because a heart and a brain, it's kind of like a body, a part of a body.
Right.
So our soul, we would say it's the mind, beautiful. So this is more like an activity. Something that it's not just in my head, it's not just in my heart, but it's everywhere. It's in my finger. It's in my legs, it's in my hands. So this mind is like an activity. It's always moving, it's never resting, so it's almost like energy. So the mind is an activity. Whatever I think in my mind, I can feel it in my body. Would you agree with that? Or disagree?
Yeah. I mean, it will show up in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So yes. So if I think, oh my gosh, I can do it. I'm gonna do anything that I can, and I'm gonna make it happen. That's just the thought I've had. What's gonna happen? That thought will be present in every cell of my body. All of a sudden, I'm gonna feel like I just want to do and go out there and make my dream come true. I'm gonna find a way. I don't know how, but I'm gonna find a way. I become super energetic and I just want to do it now. I can't even sleep because this dream of mine is this amazing desire, and actually I want to make it happen. So that's an activity that's present in every cell of my body. My body reacts to it. My body reacts to my thoughts. That's why the mind is the big circle in our sick person, because the mind literally has a control over my body. So it's present in every cell of my body. If I think I have loads of energy and I'm really happy with every day, my body is healthy most of the time. If, on the other hand, I wake up and I think this is just rubbish, I really don't like my job, or I don't like this day, what's going to happen in my body? I don't want to even get out of bed. I'm just kind of walking around the house, trying to make myself coffee if I'm a coffee drinker, or trying to make myself tea. I'm not there. My body it's just the reflection of what's going on in our mind. So our mind is an activity. And now, what's in my mind? What do I need to do, or what do I need to do? What do I need to know about my mind to change the results in my life, to really understand what it is all about? What do I need to know about my mind? I need to have a picture of it. I need to understand. In order to understand something, we need to have a picture of it. Why? Because we operate in pictures. We operate in pictures. So if our friend, for example, or family member is telling us a story about the trip they had last week, or maybe something they they were doing today, and they're telling us a story and they're super excited about it. For example, they went skiing and they came back from holiday and they tell us a story. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. There was so much snow everywhere, and I was going down the hill really fast, and there were so many trees on the way, and I was, going from one tree to another. We can see it, right?
Yeah.
See the mountain, we can see the snow, we can see the trees. Someone else.
I'm going there.
Yeah, exactly. Because we think in pictures. We think in pictures. So that's something that we need to be aware of. Our mind thinks in pictures. If I want to change something, I need to have a picture of it. Otherwise, I don't even know what I'm doing. So we need the picture of the mind. And the picture of the mind was the sick person that Dr. Thurman Fleet came up with. So all I need to understand is that there are two parts of the mind, conscious and subconscious mind. What's the difference, once again, between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind?
The one is the rationalizing, the thinking part, and the other one is just the sort of the storage.
Yes.
One is your will, I guess, and one is your intellect.
Okay, which one is which?
That's a good question. You're the expert.
Okay, so one is will and one is the intellect, you said, yes?
Maybe that's a guess.
Okay, so will is that's a very interesting topic, actually. Now that you've phrased it, let's go into it. So our will is one of our mental faculties. So we have 6 mental faculties. So will is one of our 6 mental faculties. Do we have a control over our willpower?
Yes.
We do. Okay. What if it comes to decision-making process? I can see a situation happen, or someone is presenting me with a situation, and they say, if you invest X amount of money, you're going to have X amount of return. If you don't invest, you're obviously not going to have that risk. What is my decision-making process based on?
Your knowledge, your emotion, and your rationalization, many factors, I would suppose.
Yes. So many people say, oh, it's logical or it's not logical. So my decision-making process could be based on my logic.
Right.
If something is logical to me, it makes sense, I'm definitely going to go for it. But if something doesn't make any sense, this is ridiculous, I'm not even going to think about it, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's logical. So it's logical, I'm going to invest because it's going to bring me X amount of return. And I've done it in the past and it worked for me. So that's very logical. But what is my logic? What is logic based on? Where do I get my logic from? How my logic is formed?
By your experiences, by your training, by your formation.
Have I built my own logic?
Yeah.
Kind of, maybe. Part of it. So my logic is based on my subconscious programming.
Right.
So whatever, for example, to me, this investment is very good, even though it's gonna cost me money, but it brings me X amount of return. It's logical for me to invest in it. What if the person next to me, looking at the same opportunity, I would say, they would say, this is ridiculous because what if it doesn't work out? I'm gonna lose X amount of money. Who is right and who is wrong here?
Maybe both are right and wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Just because someone has a different opinion doesn't mean that they're wrong, or doesn't mean that I'm right.
Right.
So, same opportunity or a risk situation, risky situation, according to the next person next to me, may be perceived differently, but it could be very logical to each person, because there's one person, number one, will say this is very logical, it's a high return, I'm gonna go into it. Person number two would say this is very logical, I may lose that money, it's not guaranteed to bring me that result, I'm not going into it. My logic is based on my programming, subconscious programming. If I grew up believing that investment is a good way of making money, and sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, but it's normally a really good way of making money, I'm going to be looking at that as an opportunity. If I grew up believing that you may lose lots of money by investing, and many people have lost loads of money by investing, I will be seeing that as a high risk taking situation. Where is my belief coming from? My belief, the subconscious belief, is coming from people I grew up with at the early age. Unless I've retrained myself later on, but again, if I'm a high risk taker, or if I'm a person that says it's better to be safe than sorry, it's actually a part of my subconscious programming. My decision-making process will be based on that subconscious programming. That subconscious programming, which has beliefs in it, and habits as well, but also beliefs. Those beliefs, if I never question them, they're not even mine. They're not even mine. They come from one generation to another generation. So they passed on, because the people I grew up with as a young person, as a child, they were thinking that way. Those were opinions that I grew up among, and they were repeated because that was the conversation perhaps in my family when I was growing up. Without even knowing, it got into my subconscious mind. Like you've already mentioned, the subconscious mind is like a huge powerhouse. It gathers, it has those information. When I'm a very young child, and this is what's crucial to remember, is that my subconscious is wide open. We're talking from a baby to probably 4 or 5 years old. The subconscious is wide open, so whatever is going on around the child, it gets into it as an absolute truth. Nobody questions it, is it truth or not, but the subconscious is wide open. Then around 4 or 5 years old, the child is creating the consciousness, so then they can accept or reject an idea. And it's the same in our adult life. We can accept or reject an idea, but what sort of ideas do we actually accept, and what sort of ideas do we reject?
Ones that are consistent with our subconscious formation, we accept, and ones that aren't, we kick them out, I guess.
Absolutely, 100%. Whatever opinion or idea goes around my head or around me from someone else, from the news, from the newspaper, anything, and it's in harmony with my subconscious beliefs, I'll hear it and I'll say, yeah, that's true, that makes sense. It's because it's aligned with my subconscious beliefs. So if someone said to me, this is a really great opportunity, you can make lots of money on it, you just got to invest X amount of money, it's a high return. If my subconscious belief is that you can make lots of money on investment, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, this is a great opportunity, I'm going for it. However, if I grew up and I was told that investment, people who invest can lose a lot of money, I'm going to create a negative experience or negative belief when it comes to investment. And the same opportunity, I'll think of it as a high risk, hence I will stay away from it. So whatever it's logical to one person may not be logical to the person next to me, even though we're looking at the same situation. So again, where the logic comes from? The logic comes from our subconscious programming. Most of the time, we don't know what's in our subconscious programming. We just don't know. And the thinking part, the will, is a little bit an illusion, because we think we have the will, but we have the will only what's in our conscious mind. So we only choose consciously about 4% of the time. So about 4% of the time I choose. About 96% of the time my subconscious chooses for me, because these are the pre-programmed habits, pre-programmed beliefs. That's why in most people's life, people create same results over and over again, because they use the logical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they might be highly educated, even though they may be knowing a lot around economy, a lot around, especially like there are some financial advisors who are broke. It just makes no sense. But there are people who studied economics, who studied finance, yet they broke, because the income they earn or the habit of spending money has nothing to do with their intellect. Intellectually, we might be very educated, we might know everything, what to do, where to invest, and so on, but subconsciously, which is my behavior, I may not know or not be aware, where do I spend the money, what am I doing with the money. So that's a very different part when it comes to money. Even though consciously I know what money is, how to earn it, and so on, my behavior would be very opposite to what I know, because there is this huge gap between conscious, intellect, subconscious, which is my paradigm. So now, what do we have to do to shift our paradigm, or shift the logic? Let's start from logic first. What do I have to do to shift my logic?
Oh boy. I guess you got to start over from scratch.
The best way to do that is basically, like U Squared says, that if I've been doing something for a certain time, a certain period of time, and this is not bringing me the results I want, I'd rather go and do something illogical next time, because at least whatever is logical to me may create very different results. I'm sick and tired of the results I'm having right now. I've been working hard, long hours, for example, but because I've kept doing logical stuff, I'm just creating more of the same. If every cell of my body is telling me I can do better, and I know I can do better because I've studied so much, my intellect is full of information, yet again the results are not there, it's because I keep making my decisions based on logic. Logic is not my intellect, it's my paradigm. So what I need to do, first of all, I need to be honest with myself and say, I'm not happy with my results. I gotta say it out loud. No pretending, no saying it's okay, it's fine. Just being honest with myself and just say, I'm not happy with my results in this area of my life, because I may be happy with one area of my life, but I'm not happy perhaps in another area of my life. And then whatever I'm doing around this area in my life, I'd rather start doing something logical. If my logic got me where I am now, I'd better change things and start to do the logical things. And that requires courage. Courage and understanding. Why courage and why understanding? Because if I don't know, if I don't understand what's happening in my life and why am I creating those results, even though I know better, if I don't know what's going on, if I don't have the understanding, I'll never ever go and start doing illogical stuff. It's just not gonna happen, because that would be against my whole system. And as we already know from previous lessons, our brain and everything else is here to protect us, to keep us safe and to keep us comfortable. So unless I study me and unless I become aware what's going on, I will never have that courage to start making a logical choices. Only because that will be not easy. That will be not easy. But when I gain the understanding through studying about my infinite mind, about myself as an individual, about my potential, that I'm using only a fraction of it. The moment when I start studying it, I'll get the higher awareness that there is something more out there. What I have to do, I have to snap out. I have to get out of my logical thinking, because there's one thing I need to know. My logic took me where I am now. Whatever I am right now with my results, this is where my logic took me to. If I'm not happy with my results, I need to start doing the logical things. So as we already said, my logic is based on my paradigms. What's a paradigm?
It's the formation of your thoughts based on your training, on your experience, of your subconscious.
Yes, absolutely. So paradigms is a multitude of my habits and beliefs. Multitude. So everybody has a paradigm. Every single person on the planet has a paradigm, and a paradigm is a multitude of habits and beliefs in my subconscious mind. So it's not one, it's not two, it's multitude. So there are many of them. Some of them are very good. So I might have very good beliefs. For example, I believe that I don't have to work hard to earn a lot of money. That might be my belief, and that's a very good belief. Or some of them might be very negative, saying I have to work hard to earn a lot of money. So it depends on what sort of beliefs I have. And again, unless I question my beliefs one after another, I'm not going to be aware of my beliefs. Because we never question our beliefs. We just take it for granted. This is what it is. This is logical. This is a yes. This is a no. We never question our beliefs. Where did my belief come from? Why am I thinking this way? We don't question it. We just take it as the truth. So again, paradigms are positive and negative. So both, we have good paradigms and bad paradigms. Which are which? How do I know what sort of paradigms I have?
Based on good or bad, based on the results.
That's it. As simple as that. Beautiful. Based on my results. So, for example, if I eat healthy and if I take care of my body and my health, I have a very good paradigm when it comes to health. I know that in order to live long, I need to exercise and eat healthy. That's a very good paradigm. That's a very good belief. Fantastic. If my income is not the income I want, so I know that I can do better. I know it because I've met so many people that are not as intelligent as I am, not as educated, yet again, they're doing so much better. It makes no sense. So I know I can do better. Yet again, my income is not reflecting it. What do I have to do? I need to question my habits and my beliefs. I need to question it. I need to think, what am I doing? What am I thinking? If a situation happens, what am I thinking about that situation? If some sort of opportunity is presented to me, what am I thinking about that opportunity? What are my habits? What do I do on a daily basis? I need to start questioning it. When I'm having a conversation with someone and they make a statement, how does it make me feel? When I see a wealthy person, or if I see someone perhaps, arriving in a super expensive car, how does it make me feel? Do I admire rich people, or do I think that, oh, they probably are lucky, or they probably know someone, or they probably come from a very wealthy family, or probably they're drug dealers, or maybe they're doing something illegal? What are my beliefs or my feelings about certain situations? All of this, when I start becoming aware of it as they happen, as they come my way, I become aware of my paradigms. So if any person keeps experiencing same results over and over again, no matter how hard they try, no matter how hard they work, so they need to understand it's not the external circumstances, it's not the economy, it's not the business, it's not the job, it's not the employer, it's something in me that's creating it. Again, in a bad economy, people can make money. In a very good economy, people can be broke. So it really makes no sense. It's the same in any job. There are companies that people are very productive, and in the same office, there could be someone who is absolutely miserable. The same when it comes to business. Any business can be very prosperous, and the same line of business, even next door, could be broke. So it really makes no sense. So really, there's something deeper than just the external factors. What am I programmed with? What is my attitude? What are my feelings? So it really starts, everything starts from realizing that there is a paradigm, there is a multitude of habits. And those habits require some attention. And if I spot some negative habits that I know I have, it could be procrastination. That's a habit. Procrastination is a habit, it's a negative habit. If I spot myself, if I notice that I procrastinate things I know I should be doing because they probably could or would contribute to my goal, if I can see I'm procrastinating, I need to become disciplined and just give myself a command and say, instead of procrastinating, I'm just going to do it. I need to give myself a command. What's this discipline? Discipline is just giving yourself a command and follow it. That's a discipline. It's not like I have to learn something new, I have to get a certificate. No, a discipline is just giving yourself a command. I say to myself that tomorrow I wake up at 5 a.m. if I have to, or 6 a.m. if I have to, because I'm running out of time. I don't have enough time during the day. So what do I have to do? I have to wake up earlier. And the discipline is giving yourself a command and follow it. And once you keep doing this for a certain time, you are in control, nobody else. Because if I say something that I want to change and the alarm goes off and I snooze it, I'm not in control. My paradigm is. So my programming, my subconscious programming is controlling my behavior. That's ridiculous. Do we want to be a plaything of that? Or do we want to say, I make a decision and I know I need to work on it because it's a habit I need to change, and I'm going to work on it because I am in control, nobody else.
It's interesting. People, like very successful people, get on autopilot of being able to do things. I mean, their subconscious is in control of doing things effectively because they've developed over time. They've developed a lot of good habits, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. That's all. They've developed plenty of good habits over time. And to those people, because many of them are unconscious competent, so they just basically are the way they are, but many of them don't understand why, so they can't pass it on. They can't sit down and say, this is how you do it. You have to pick up a habit and then change it, and then through repetition you're going to do it.
Right.
They don't understand. That's why they're very, very successful, but it's non-transferable. This success is non-transferable because they don't understand it. It's just happened over time. Over time, subconsciously, they've adapted to certain habits. So understanding now, when we know, okay, great, so I've got lots to work on, fantastic. But instead of thinking about it, oh my gosh, it's just another homework, we need to change the perception. If we change the perception and think, this is fantastic, now I know what's happening. I know what's holding me back. I know it's not me, it's just my paradigm. It's just something that I've gained some time ago, some negative beliefs or negative habits. And we are habitual beings. So whatever we keep doing over and over again, it becomes part of our habit. And I can give you an example from my life. I remember I could be very productive, very efficient, going to the gym, going to work all the time. And I would continue doing that because I just had it as my habit. Once I went home, especially years ago when I used to go home for a month, I would stop doing those things. And all of a sudden, laziness comes in to the point I cannot even, right? Makes sense. I can not even be bothered to leave home. It's just so comfortable to stay home all day, watch TV. That's ridiculous for someone who's been super active to someone who's became a very lazy person, a potato cook. Then that just makes no sense. What's happening? And it's nothing is happening. We're just habitual beings. Whatever I keep doing over and over and over again becomes a part of my habit, and then I just do it on autopilot. So Infinite Mind, which is lesson 3, has really great questions at the end of the lesson. So if you find yourself that this is exactly what's happening here, I sometimes go back to lesson 3 every time when I feel stuck. So every time when we feel stuck, it's not because I'm not good enough for that. It's not because this business is not good for me. No, it's only because there are some sort of habits or beliefs that are holding me back. That's it, nothing else. So what do I have to do? I have to go back to second exercise of lesson 2 and rewrite all of the NPAs, which is non-productive actions. And what I mean rewrite, I really mean we have to start writing down things and rewriting, because that triggers your emotional mind. So as we know, our subconscious mind is our emotional mind. It has almost an exclusive control over our behavior. So if I want to make it more powerful, let's do it properly. If I need to connect to my emotional mind, writing is one of the best tools, because writing causes you to think. Thinking creates images. So when we start thinking about the situation or our goal, I start seeing images. When I start seeing images, again, positive or negative, our mind doesn't care. But whatever I think about, I start seeing images. Those images at the back of my mind stir emotions. So if I think about my goal, my desires, if I see myself successful, I feel great. All of a sudden, my emotions shift, my feelings shift. On the other hand, if I think about stuff that it didn't work out the way I wanted yesterday or last week or last year, or maybe the mistake I've made a few years ago, I should have gone for that business idea perhaps, and I never did. If I keep thinking about those negative thoughts, then the negative image comes up, and images their emotions. I'm not gonna be feeling so great. I'm gonna be feeling low, demotivated. And then emotions cause the action. Whatever I feel like, my body just reflects that. The body is the reflection of the mind. The mind has almost an exclusive control over how we act, how we behave. And then the action reaction, that's all about the law of the universe, action reaction. I send out certain energy, and the energy comes back to its source of origination. So whatever I do comes back to us. So action reaction alters condition. Again, both ways. If I have negative actions, like the laziness, procrastination, the result, the reaction is going to be also negative. And the circumstances will be negative. And I'm not going to create the goal. It's going to be even going the opposite way. So nothing stays the same. Everything moves. So if I'm not going forward towards my goal, closer to my goal, I'm actually going backwards. Because nothing stays the same. Everything is as an ocean. We live in the ocean of motion. So again, the power of writing. I need to train myself to focus on the things I want. Creating the image of the things I want. And then, what can I do on a daily basis to make it happen? Or what sort of habits do I operate with that are not serving me? And then those habits replace with the positive habits. When I write it down, it becomes more tangible. It's there. And then when I make a mental decision, I'm going to make it happen no matter what, because I know how my mind is powerful. I know I only use 10%. What would happen if I added additional 2? What could change? Challenge yourself, guys. What could change in your life if you've only increased your brain power by 2%? What do you think might happen? Test it, see what happens. And then those thinking causes you to feel a certain way. When you think in a creative way, this is the real thinking. Thinking is when you start creating ideas. Every other thinking is not thinking. Every other thinking about the stuff I haven't done yesterday or my failures from the past, this is not thinking. This is just exercise of your memory. It's very bad, it's negative. That's not thinking. And most people don't think. That's the problem. Most people don't think. So the real thinking is creating the lifestyle you want. And then you start thinking about those images. Those images make you feel great. Your vibration shift. All of a sudden your behavior starts to change. And whatever you're about to do is going to be a positive action. Because if you feel positive, if you feel super motivated, you're going to do something that will be positive action, create positive results. And then when you start acting on those ideas, creating positive actions, circumstances and environment reflects the way you feel. Our outer world is the reflection of our inner world. So wherever we have circumstances and whatever people we meet, whatever opportunities or lack of opportunities we have, it's just a reflection of what's going on inside of our mind. Any questions or any comments? Beautiful, thank you.
No, you're very good at bringing it together.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much for being here with me today as well.
Mm-hmm.
And have a beautiful week. Very productive.
Yes.
With loads of illogical actions.
I like that. I like that illogical stuff.
Yeah. Have some fun. Just
okay.
See what happens. Let's just be illogical. Let's do a little bit of craziness, spontaneous action, and see what happens.
Thank you. I have your license. I will do that.
Okay. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.